me tonight.
Oh,
Okay, Tate.
Boy.
Whenever you're ready.
You about ready?
We're about ready. We're ready to go. Whenever you're ready, Tate.
Okay, first, the Great Depression. How old were you during the Great Depression?
Oh, and when? Now, wait a minute. What? Talk to me. I can't hear good.
How old were you during the Great Depression?
I was, what? It started about the 28th of the 1928 and lasted plumb all up in Roseville about 5 years. Lasted about 33.
and how old were you at that time?
Well, I was 18 years old.
Did you have a job?
Huh?
Did you have a job?
No, ma'am. I was a loafer. You don't have to put that down. No,
Being
I
recorded.
took used when the depression on. My father run Tyrone Ferry down there, and he run it. He was on go to work at 6 o'clock of the afternoon and worked all night long, and he got $60 a month. And if he didn't have somebody to hook the chain, he'd give me $1 to work 12 hours. I worked. I had people set tobacco. I worked in tobacco or anything to make $1, but there wasn't nothing hardly to do. And a lot of people was hungry right around me. My granddaddy Bond would go to his, he had plenty of potatoes he raised. He had plenty of meat, he killed hogs, and had all kind of garden stuff. And he would gather it up and take it over and hand it over the fence. This lady had 3 little children, and he fed them. He wasn't going to let them go hungry. It was a bad time. My father was a farmer and worked on that ferry. And we had plenty. We had our own cow. We had our own chickens. We raised all the garden stuff. We raised tobacco crop. We raised corn to feed our hogs and everything. And there was 9 of us, 9 children.
Wow. Let's see.
A nice bunch. Now they're all gone but 2. I got one sister that's 83 and I'll be 89 in June. Don't you say nothing.
Let's see. What did you do, like, for fun and stuff?
Ma'am,
What did you do for fun?
for fun, I was a fisherman. I fished in ponds and I rambled the creeks and fished in ponds. I fished in ponds, rambled little old yellow cats about that long, just throw them away. I fished all the time. I fished all of my life. Only time I missed was during World War II.
Let's see.
And I still fish.
Let's see. What people in entertainment do you remember?
Ma'am,
Actors or singers or anything? Do you remember any of them from the Great Depression?
you talk too fast and not loud enough for me.
What entertainment people do you remember?
Oh, God, now come on. Back then, you want me to tell you what they done? Well, this is a rough one. They went and had old barroom fights and shooting and cutting one another's throats. I'm not lying. I'm not just lying. I seen one feller, he shot one 6 times. He shot him the first time about the belt buckle. And he emptied the whole 38 into him, killed him. I was looking at him. And there was another one. He told this fellow started in this store down there at Tyrone. He said Burkhall was a fellow that was in the store, and the one outside was Walter Griffey. And he said, "Go tell him when he comes at you, I'm gonna kill him." He went back there and tried to get him to go out the back door and slip away. He didn't do it. He went out the front door, and Walter Griffey killed him. And then another knocked one down and kicked him in the head with a hard-toed shoe, and killed him, and never done nothing with it. And I seen Clyde Inman cut from here to here, and Thomas Rock, and nobody never done nothing about that. Cutthroat, they cutthroat and fought. In Tyrone, it was like 10 nights in the bar room back then. And I was just a young boy, and that's what I done. I go down and watch them. They'd shoot the town up, and everything else back there was rough. But it didn't bother me. I liked it. It was almost like a Wild West show.
Let's see. What was school like? School.
I went to the 6th grade. There wasn't nothing wrong with school, and I had some mighty fine teachers and everything, but I worked in tobacco. I gathered blackberries when it was time on, it was all of us kids, and most of the time they kept us out of school to work in the back of crop or blackberry picking time. We had to pick my mom 75 gallon of blackberries. And she canned them and made jam out of them. Everything was trying to manage to have something to eat when winter time comes. We were poor, really poor. And I ain't no different today. Go ahead.
What were holidays like?
Holidays. They didn't have no dog holidays back then. That all come on since then. There was no such a thing as a 4th of July thing or Christmas. We had Christmas and I never amount to nothing in New Year's, and then Halloween. We used to have Halloween, all right. And of course, we always was pranking on somebody on Halloween. And my favorite one was the Tic Tac people. I'd get me a spool of number 8 black thread and a nail, put a nail on it, and I'd find one of them old strip houses, and one would hold the other up and stick that nail in between the strip that went up on the house. And we had a piece of rosin and a tin can, and you never had such a racket in your life. It sounded just like taking the boards off the house. And then they'd come out and we'd quit. Then we'd go back in the house, setting up in a big tree across from it. We pranked a lot, and but I remember Christmas was all right, and everybody had plenty to eat, managed to have plenty to eat on Thanksgiving, but they never paid much attention to 4th of July or New Year's or something like that. And back then it was not really a good time. It was a bad time. I've lived through the worst.
What did you think of Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his New Deal?
Huh?
What did you think of Roosevelt?
Roosevelt. Well, Roosevelt was he was a wonderful president. He was a Democrat president. He was a good one. He's the one when I went in to fight the war. He was president when they took me in the service. And he died before it was over, and they put Harry S. Truman to it. I don't see nothing wrong with him. But right now, I'm a George Bush man. I voted every time. I didn't like Hatton when he was governor. I voted for Chandler 3 times and got 2. I voted for, this time I voted for, what is that one in there this time? Run against that Chandler boy. 3 days before I was for Chandler.
Fletcher?
Huh? The new governor.
Yeah. Ernie Fletcher.
Yeah, Fletcher. I voted for Fletcher this time. Now I'm going to turn and go vote. If I live, I'm voting the Republican ticket next time. I'm going to vote for George Bush. I liked old man George Bush. He was a good president. And there was a whole lot of them good. Kennedy was a good president. But Paul Nixon, they claimed something about Watergate to him, and they railroaded him out. And Gerald Ford took his place. But I believe that I thought Eisenhower was as nice, finest president we ever had. I thought under Eisenhower, under the Second Corps, in North Africa, I thought he was the general over me then. He was just 2-star. And then he left, and they put old Patton over, and I hate him. I got no use for General George S. Patton. I like this little one. I liked Bradley. I thought Bradley was wonderful, and I thought Eisenhower was wonderful, but I didn't like Patton. I didn't like Mark Clark, and I liked General Arnold. It was over the Air Force, but we got some right good generals right now, but I don't remember their names. They were wonderful. They were a wonderful bunch of people. And if anybody thinks that George Bush ain't done nothing, they ought to just stop and think a little bit what kind of shape we're in right now. There's nothing wrong with the way you're living. You can lay down at night, can't you? And you know, I lay down, I don't worry about nobody bothering me. And if we'd have pulled our troops back over, I believe there'd been over here car bombing us and everything else. I honestly believe that. I could be wrong. But I believe in George Bush. I believe George Bush is good. And I don't like Kerry for nothing. I pray every once in a while. I'm not religious. I'd like to be. I pray a lot. You know, you should have seen the church that I just saw. And the preacher and his wife asked me if they could call me Uncle Bill.
Good.
He prayed for me, and I hugged them both. And he told me, he says, asked me, he said, would you let me, my wife and I call you Uncle Bill? And I said, well, I don't care. And then he said, you wouldn't believe how beautiful the church is. It's a great big monstrous one, and it's beautiful inside. I've been in it. Him and I was in there, and he prayed for me. I said, I hope it'll help me, but I don't. I think it's too far along.
Yes.
Go ahead, sweetie. I'm sorry.
Did you have a car?
What?
A car during the Great Depression?
Did you have a car?
A car? I've had a whole lot of cars. I had 6 straight Pontiacs. I've had brand new Bonnevilles. I used to have anything I wanted. But I got old and I don't want nothing.
During the
During the
Depression.
Depression, did you have a car?
Huh?
During the Depression, did you have a car?
What in the special that I liked in a car?
During the Depression, did you have one?
No! In Tyrone there was cars. There was Old Allen had a Huckmobile. Albert Leonard's had a Pierce Hare. Old man Jesse Patterson had a Nash. And old man Charlie Jones had a Buick. Back in the Depression. Big fine automobile. Running up and down the road through the chug hole.
Did people there, did they seem to help each other out during the Depression? Like, if someone needed something, did they give it to them?
Speak louder, Tate.
Speak
Did
louder.
they help each other out during the Depression?
No. Some of them would, but not very many. People didn't care about one another. They weren't religious. And really, too, they didn't care whether you had something to eat or to have. They didn't have one another. My grandmother had cataracts on her arm, my mother's mother, and my granddaddy would go and cut a great big thing of meat and potatoes and things and hand them over the fence where they had 3 children. He was good. He didn't want to see nobody starve. I had plenty to eat. I never have been without plenty to eat in my life. My father worked on the ferry and it raised tobacco crop and everything. We had our own hog, chicken, and cow, and we lived good. When I was a kid, I was just ornery. I can't tweak putting that in there, because I was.
Let's see. Did your family have stock?
The only thing that my people had was 1 cow. And you said stock, did you? And we had 1 cow for our own milk and chickens for our own eggs. And that was it. We didn't have any land, just a house. We lived right down on the left-hand side of Tyrone, going up our way on up towards the ferry there. And we didn't have no place to pasture. We had 1 cow, but it was up on the farm where we heard for our own milk. But we never had no cattle to sell or nothing like that. Mighty little stuff.
Let's see. World War II. Okay, let's think. So were you in the Army in World War II?
Yes, ma'am.
What part of the Army were you in?
I was in a anti-aircraft artillery outfit. I started out March the 5th, 1941. And then right after war broke out, December the 7th, 1942, I left the United States and I went to Belfast, Ireland. and done some training there. And then I went over to Liverpool, England, back to another army camp there. And then I came back down to Liverpool and loaded on a ship. And 27 days from the day I got on that ship, I got off at Oran, North Africa, and was fighting the French. I fought them 3 days, and we signed a peace treaty with them. And then we loaded our equipment on trains and went all the way down into Tunisia. And the Germans were there. And we fought the Germans around the last of November when we got down there. And we fought the Germans from on up to about April or March before we whipped them out of there. And then we waterproofed up and we went to Licata, Sicily. And I fought all the way across Sicily, about 175 miles of it, till we took Sicily away from them. And then I go back over to Ferryville, North Africa, and waterproofed again, and I went to Salerno. And they like to run us in the ocean. And they brought paratroopers in, and our paratroopers, and dumped them on us to keep us from being run in the ocean. Brought about 5,500 and dropped them right on us, our boys. And then we got straightened out pretty good, and then went back down. I was up there where there was a big Catholic thing that they lost, or an awful lot of our boys was killed trying to take it. It was up on a big mountain. And I stayed there, I imagine, a couple of months right there. And then I went back down to Naples, waterproof, and went to Anzio. And I was up on Anzio I stayed there about 110 days and nights up there. And the captain come out and he said one corporal could go home on rotation. But he said there's 11 of you eligible and only one can go. So he put 10 blank pieces of paper in his hat and one said yes and stirred him up. And I drew the yes and I come home. One of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. I left off in Anzio. I've been up there, I'd say somewhere close to 110 days a night. I never had shaved. I never had washed. Only once in a while I washed my eyes a little bit in my old outside of my helmet. You cannot wash and take a bath or anything and somebody shooting at you all the time. So I was filthy. And I drew rotation and came back down to Naples, Italy, in a debarkation center. They gave me new clothes and everything, and I lived in the share house almost all night long, scrubbing, trying to get the grouse off of grouse. I was actually grousey, old scaly stuff on my body. And I finally got myself cleaned up, and I come home.
What do you remember about Pearl Harbor?
Pearl Harbor was in the South Pacific, and it was hit November the 7th, 1942, but I had nothing to do with nothing out of the Pacific. That was a different theater. I wasn't in it. I was in the European theater, but I never fought none in the Japs. I had a little brother did. I had a little brother, Charles, was 4 years younger than I, and he was in the Pacific, and he made it back.
Do you recall hearing about Pearl Harbor?
Huh?
Do you recall hearing about Pearl Harbor? Or what you were doing when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Do you remember when you heard about Pearl Harbor? What you were doing when you heard about it?
I was fixing to eat lunch, and they come over the news in our mess hall that Japanese had struck Pearl Harbor and Roosevelt had declared war on Japan.
What did you think about that then?
I thought they ought to kill them all. Right now they got a few of them over yonder in Iraq with us, but they're talking about pulling them out, and they ain't never been for us. All they've ever done is took and done dirty. That was about the sneakiest thing that ever happened, and there's no reason why in the world that we should have ever got hit and didn't know they was there. And there's still a lot of fishy about this, that and tired the heat up there. They know that somebody was about trying to do that. And the little rice lady on there that was really Bush, she knew some of that, something of the important part of that. And I ain't gonna tell you that George Bush didn't know some of the, but he didn't know what to do about it. And they didn't think such a thing could happen to us. There's no way in the world that you could stop. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sitting on the couch. Huh? What's on your mind?
You tell him to call him back.
Okay. Already. Well, ask me real quick. Huh? Big minnow or some kind of big jig? Yeah. White? Yeah, or any kind of you can. There's a lot of different jigs you can get. Yeah, a white jig's often good. Yeah. I don't fish with. Yeah, you might. I don't fish no more. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay. I just wish I could say the same. Thank you. That was one of my nephews. He says I love you, but I didn't say I loved him. I'm sorry, did I interrupted it? Let's roll. I hope it'll help someone. I don't know exactly the right answers. I don't think.
That's okay. Did you know any prisoners of war?
Did I know prisoners of war? I saw many of them. Germans.
Hold your paper
Yes,
down.
I saw a lot of them. But they were brought back here, and people hired them to work for them. I came home when the time that I drove that rotation and came home, and I took my .22 rifle and went out a hunting while I was here. I used to love to hunt, and I was just went out to shoot groundhogs. Just shoot them. I didn't want them. Just shoot them with blank. So I just loved to kill varmints. I've done it all my life. I've caught enough coons and things to load a truck. And that's the way I used to make my living in the wintertime, is trapping. I was a trapper. I've come in with all I could carry up the hill at one time, muskrats, coon, mink, and all that kind of stuff. I caught a lot of it. I trapped a lot in my life. And of course, I went hunting. I got off of it. I went hunting back on this farm, and they used to, where they thrash wheat with a big thrashing machine, and they'd blow the straw out there in a great big, just a monstrous pile of it. And then they'd come back later and bale it. And Billy Mountjoy, that run a saddle horse farm out there the other side of Lawrenceburg, I didn't know him then. But I went back there, and he had about 7 8 German prisoners, and I had on I was in uniform, and I walked up, and don't you think that boy didn't look at me hard when I was standing there with that gun in my hand? Of course, I wasn't going to bother. I didn't have no right to bother. And he'd go, they bring them out, and they take them back. They pay them so much, but they take them and put them back in a place at night. And he worked 8 of them a whole lot. And of course, all around here, everybody, a lot of farmers worked them because you got cheap labor farm work. Yeah. You think that'll be all right for that? Okay.
Did you know any women in the war?
Ma'am?
Did you know any women in the war?
Honey, what'd you ask me? Did I know any women?
That were in the war.
That were in the war fighting now.
Oh, yes. I didn't know them, no. I seen them, American girl. No, they wasn't fighting. I saw them, they were in, kind of in like a wax or something like it. They wouldn't even speak to American soldiers. They was after the officers. No, I saw him. I spoke to him, but I didn't get no answer. I'm sorry, I didn't get an answer. They looked awful pretty to me, but it didn't do me a bit of good. They wouldn't have nothing to do with me. I had to go get me Italian, or I run around with Italian women. I run around with Irish women. I run around with English women. I run around with women everywhere I said. I ain't no use to sit there and tell you I didn't. I never did have any trouble of finding me a lady.
How did you feel about the way Hitler treated the Jews?
That what?
How did you feel about how Hitler treated the Jews?
I think treated them awful. I think every German ought to have been killed that had anything to do with it. It was horrible how they done them. I've not got nothing against a Jew. Jesus was a Jew.
Did you know any Japanese Americans?
I've seen quite a few of them here. I've never said a word to a Japanese American. No, I don't talk to them. I don't try. If I see them, I just walk on by them. I don't know nothing about them, and I don't know how to answer their language. I don't know nothing about it.
Okay, let's take all my questions.
You done?
Yep.
I'm sorry, but I hope it's the best I know.
Did fine. Thank you.
Did good.
Is this the one that we were supposed to ask about that? You got in place, would you like to have a little pygmy nanny goat for that little
A nanny goat? Oh.
No, sir. Okay. All right. You don't want them all to have something to play with. I got one down there. I want to take you down there someday and show it to you. I got one down there. You slap it. If you just reach out and slap her, I'll just bet you $100 that you got a fight on your hand. And I'll bet you I can do it, and I can tell her to quit. Now come on, we're not going to fight. We're buddies. And she'll come right there and I can just pat her, do anything to her. But if you slap her, you got to watch her. She's right at you real quick. She'll fight you. And she'll get you by chewing tobacco out of my pocket. She used to steal her cigarettes off people and run with them. She'll eat cigarettes and chewing tobacco. Y'all going to church tonight?
No, we're not going to church tonight. We're going out to eat tonight.
Huh?
We're going out to eat tonight as a family. The youngest son didn't go. The youngest son wasn't able to go when we got out of church. He had to go somewhere else. So we're all going to try to get together and eat
I
tonight.
hope you have a nice time. That's all I can tell you. I hope you have a nice time.
I'll see you tomorrow
I ain't
night.
going nowhere.
I'll
I'm
see you
going
tomorrow
nowhere.
night.
I'm going to lay right on this couch, take my shoes off, lay on this couch, and I'm going to get Fox News on where they're fighting over yonder, and I'm going to lay here and watch it, and if Robbie touches that burning thing, we're going to have it. He took my TV down and put it up, and I'd be laying here watching TV, and he comes in, and there ain't no difference what I'm watching. He gets this thing, and he cuts me up. He goes on to something else with it. And I'm not tired of it. I'm a good fighter. If you don't think you let the big rascal pry me, rear. You wish you'd never seen me. But my sister gave me, her husband had a .38 pistol. Good. I'd give her $300 or $400, sir. She said, go in there and look in that doorbell. Jay had a pistol. So I went and looked and come back with it. And directly she said she's got a nice flesh money thing with it in that drawer. Go get them. I got them. She said, you can have them. So we packed him up and shipped him. She said, I give your sister, I give you mine, your sister, I'll give her, it's hard to say how many $1,000 I've give her. I got plenty. The church gets my house. The church gets my money. They've done got my truck. They've done got my car. I give everything I got will go to the church. You've never asked me for nothing. And I've never gave you nothing. I said, you don't have to give me nothing. I said, I've been self-supporting ever since World War II was over. I have not had to ask nobody for nothing. I said, I got my house paid for. I got my old place down on the river. Nobody got nothing against it. I got a $10 Chevrolet truck. And I got about $17,000 in the bank. And I don't have to ask nobody for a damn thing. So she wrote me a check out for $1,000 and handed it to me. I got it. Mary Frances Long,
That's her name, huh?
$1,000.
Don't lose it, Bill.
I'll take it down and put it in my bank account. And I told you I'd buy you an Elgin watch, that old watch you got on your arm. I don't like the looks of it. And I'll buy you a real nice watch. I got the money and I
We'll
don't
do that
need it.
tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow.
All right.
Okay?
I imagine I'll still be kicking and raising the devil tomorrow.
I imagine you will.
And I said, it's warm. I once, since I talked to you about that little boy, I was surprised at the devil when I walked up and asked him to give me a cotty lick. And he said, will you go fishing with me? Will you take me fishing? I said, well, sure I will. I don't want him to bring a pole. I got a nice bluegill pole that I learned from a little boy not long ago. I was sitting out there and he come to me. Looked like he may have been 6 or 7 years old, little blonde-headed fella. And I was sitting there fishing, I was doing fine. And somebody said, mister, are you catching any? And I looked around and there stood a cutest little fella, wasn't that big. I said, get up here with me up on the thing. Ain't no danger. One paw in the palm, I'll jump in and get him. No doubt. And I showed him how to throw it twice. It's a long bow. And I'd slam it out there and run it back in. And I said, now you do it. He threw it down and I said, pull, you got one. And he pulled this way. You don't pull that way, you pull this way. And if that burned, he wasn't winding. And I said, don't wind the cart plumb into the pole. You ain't got no way to raise your pole up and catch your fish. And the little feller done wonderful. And his granddaddy hollered for him, he had to leave. I had Nancy Lake's daughter, Nancy Lake's mama, and Nancy Lake's boyfriend here today.
Did you?
I love her. She was my daughter, honestly. We since 1970, we've been real close. She comes and sees me, and her mama hugs me, her daughter hugs me, she hugs me, and her boyfriend said, I said, all right, come on! And he hugged me. Oh, Lordy. Y'all gonna go out somewhere to eat tonight. I don't need nothing. Nancy brought me some sandwiches and I done eat one of them.